Hey, Gary. Welcome to the Big Motor Small Blade podcast. I'm Seth Dolby, joined by Buddy Pulley and Chase Folsom today. How are y'all doing?
Let me tell you. Harrison Burton, I still fucking remember that shit you did at Phoenix. But you know what? I raised my beer to you, sir. I'm proud of the old boy. I'm proud of him, man. I'm going to start out telling the story. I was told on the show before, but I'm going to tell it again for anybody who hasn't heard it. So obviously you guys know if you're a Kevin Harvick fan, right?
Really?
And in 2000, yeah. Well, I mean, we have audio listeners who may not have ever seen the Vector. So,
I guess it's true. Yeah.
So anyway, and they might not know. I don't know.
Somehow.
So Harrison Burton spins out with 9 laps to go at Phoenix last year, costing Kevin Harvick the victory in his final season. And the on-running joke from that was Harrison, I remember that shit you did at Phoenix, and I'll never forget it. Well, we're at Wilkesboro a couple months later, and we're just sitting around, just chit-chatting, whatever, in the midway. And sure enough, here comes Harrison fucking Burton walking through the midway, and I was like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Hey, Harrison, I still remember that shit you did at Phoenix. He turns around, sees my Kevin Harvick shirt, and literally runs over to me and gives me a hug. And he's like, dude, I am so sorry. I am so sorry, dude. I feel so bad about that. The most genuine dude. The most genuine dude. And bro, I was like, you know what, Harrison? You know what you can do? You can help him win, or you can do something with your fucking career. I didn't say those exact words, but that's kind of what the gist I gave to him. He was very cool about it. Took a picture, whatever. Ever since I bought this koozie, it is a Harrison Burton koozie that day. And old boy went out here and won him a damn race. How cool is that?
It was a ride he fired from.
The ride he was fired from.
It was honestly a pretty incredible moment. I can't remember the last time I stood up at the end of a Daytona or Talladega race and started saying, "Oh my God. Oh my God." I cannot remember the last time that happened.
They both did. Can confirm.
Yeah, we both did. So, I never thought, I didn't think, literally I said earlier in the race, I said, I hate Tyler Reddick. You know what? I haven't forgiven Harrison Burton, but I don't hate him. I literally said those exact words earlier in the night, and I'll be damned. He came off turn 4, and I jumped up. I was banging on the table.
So, my funny story from the weekend.
Chuck fell asleep. I had to dump water on him to get him to wake up for the last 15 laps of this race.
I did fall asleep, in the most awkward position in Buddy's chair, too. So,
hey, man, that's an real authentic lazy boy you fell asleep in. I ain't surprised you fell asleep.
For anybody that's been listening for a while, you guys know my first ever episode on the show was this race 1 year ago. So, happy 1 year anniversary of me being on the show. Sorry, guys.
Greatest mistake I've ever made in my life.
So, the funny story that you guys may remember is we're watching that race together. And
I've been divorced, Chuck, and it's still the worst decision.
Anyway, we were watching that race together last year. The same deal. We went to Wake County both years, recorded the race. No spoilers. We're watching the race. And last year, I said they're about to eat shit. And as I said, they're about to eat. Ryan Blaney got hooked into the outside wall.
Yep.
And so this year, we're in the closing laps, and Buddy's like, Josh Berry's not going to win this race. Josh Berry's not going to win this race. And I said, no, Buddy, you have to believe in Josh. I believe in Josh Bitt. And as I said, Berry, there goes Josh flipping down the back.
I believed in Josh Berry. I believed he could fly.
Yeah, I think we all did. So, needless to say, I'm no longer... next year when we do this, I'm just going to sit silently for the entire race in hopes that I don't shut up. In hopes that I don't almost kill somebody at Daytona for saying something hours after the fact that just happened to be coincidentally perfect timing.
Yeah. I thought this was one of the best next-gen super speedway races.
I think it was the best, hands down.
Really?
In my opinion. Other than,
I thought the Daytona 500 this year was good. but I think we were there.
Yeah, I think it had a lot more to do with
Sucked into
us
the
being
aura.
there. Now, honestly, though, this race 2 years ago was not that far off. Like, because like we saw the third lane working the entire day that race too. And honestly, at Daytona, it's been fine, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
It's a little calmer in the 500. Obviously, for the first 400 miles, your goal is to win the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
The objective is a little bit different in the summer, so it's just normally a crazier race. But I mean, I think Daytona's been a good track with this. It's not maybe the best it's ever been or whatever, but I think it's overall been a pretty good race for a speedway race. And it's just Talladega that's not very good right now. It's just too wide, at Talladega. But
honestly,
it's too wide, and that's why they only go too wide.
I've honestly felt like I haven't actually minded the next gen Talladega races. Some of them, like I actually thought this year's spring race was good.
Oh, well, I don't mind them as much. They don't wreck as much.
I think this was definitely the best Daytona next gen race.
Right.
I can't pinpoint it, but like I think this spring and then the Chase Elliott fall race, next gen races at Talladega were pretty good. At least in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know why didn't seem to anybody give a damn about fuel saving Saturday night. They were just balls to the walls all night. Cause I remember we were talking about it at the beginning of the race. They were like, oh, they have to be saving fuel. That's why we're 3 wide. And then I think it was you, buddy, who was like, no, I don't think they're saving fuel because Joey Logano is trying his best to wreck the leader. Pushing.
It was not me that said that. I'm going to give Seth Dolby credit for that.
But well, no. So the first stage, they definitely weren't saving fuel because it was only 35 laps. And then the second stage, they did save fuel a little bit, but obviously you're going to because, the goal is to.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
The goal is to get in.
Oh.
Take 3.
The goal is to put yourself in position at the end. So go ahead, buddy.
Your turn.
I was just going to say the way the cautions fell in the stage 3 kind of saved us from the fuel savings. I say saved us. Well, I mean, we've been pretty okay with the fuel saving.
Yeah.
In general. Yeah. So we had a new shark fin. Seth, you like sharks? You can go first.
I do like sharks.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Okay.
Big shark guy, Seth Dolby.
Yeah.
I also like sharks.
Hammerheads. I want to hold a baby hammerhead. Anyway, so we obviously added if you are not aware, we added a shark fin to the right side. Historically, for the past 14 years, they've only been on the left side. And this weekend, we added one to the right side. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it made it to try and keep guys from flipping
in response to
Corey Lajoie
running out of talent.
Running out of talent, flipping down the backstretch at Michigan.
Common trend.
I think, here's the thing I think, though, is it may have had an impact on, it may have had an impact on the 34. I'm not 100% convinced that's the case because he's going up the track, up the banking. I think that had maybe more to do with it. I don't know. I'm not a physicist. But
let's break this down. This is a podcast. We got to explain what happened. Michael McDowell got turned in front of the whole field while leading by Austin Cindric
because he threw a bad block.
Exactly.
Very Michael McDowell.
Yeah, Michael McDowell. I don't know if Michael McDowell called what Austin Cindric did uncalled for. I'm hoping I got that wrong, and he was calling what he did to himself uncalled for.
I doubt it.
Yeah. Them type don't really hold a lot of accountability. But ended up getting turned in front of the field and caused the big one.
Yeah. So anyway, that happened. And then 10, 15 laps later, whatever it was, Josh Berry ended up flipped on the other side. And in that same instance, so I was listening to DBC a little bit, and I hadn't even noticed Austin Cindric take a little bit of air and come back down.
Yeah.
In that incident. But honestly, no matter what you do to the shark fin on an incident like Berry's and even like Corey Lajoie's last week, when you go all the way around and you're facing backwards, the device on the race car that's meant to keep it down when going forward is just kind of going to lift it up. I don't know what you can do about that other than redesign the entire next gen car, which would be a great idea. But yeah, I mean, with
that horse is betting the grave.
Yeah, I know.
I'm kind of with Denny. Denny had to take on his podcast that he'd rather cars flipped than hit the wall.
As someone who's flipped a car, it's really not that bad.
Yeah, well, I get it though, because if at all costs, we don't want to test the greenhouse of the car. I get that. Obviously, we saw nearly worst case scenario when that happened 4 years ago at Daytona with Ryan Newman. But yeah, I mean, we got rid of the grass. Clearly, it proved, we got rid of the grass. Josh Berry flipped, and he slid on his roof and got out of the car and said, y'all are worried, but I'm okay. I'm perfectly fine. So, in the instance of Michael McDowell, that was a little bit more scary. And I'm kind of with you. I don't think that, I think that's a scenario that it's just going to happen, especially with this guy. I mean, there's nothing you can do when he's high centered basically on the apron and air catches the bottom of the car. Yeah. Like you're an airplane at that point.
Then Joey absolutely drove through his door because he had nowhere to go. And that's what launched him. Yeah. And I will say that I think, I'm kind of with you guys, I think the banking's the only reason that car sat back down. I think if it's on a flat, that car does exactly what Josh Berry's did.
Yeah.
And I think in the case of Cindric, the only reason that car didn't take off is because of the difference in air coming over the 4 car and pushing down on top of the 2 car.
He basically had a giant shark fin blocking himself from going over. Yeah.
My brother's phone just started ringing. But I just thought it was funny that Steve Letarte spent 5 minutes explaining how the shark fin kept Michael McDowell from flipping, and then Josh Berry said, "Hold my damn beer, watch this."
Yeah. It's just, it's one of them deals, man. I mean, there's not much you're gonna be able. I don't know what you could do. You have the flat, like we see in IndyCar. Like if there's air gets underneath it, it's an airplane. It's basically an airplane at that point. And here we are. I literally said this. Next gen race #1 at Daytona in 2022, when coincidentally enough, Harrison Burton flipped. I literally said on that show, I said, there's not much you can do. When the car catches air, it turns into basically a fucking airplane. Like it's gonna generate lift. Yeah. It's just what's gonna happen.
And a plane that weighs that much is taking off at around that speed.
Yeah.
Or actually less, to be honest. Yeah. I think a fucking airliner takes off at about just a little more than that speed.
Yeah.
It starts generating lift. So that's just kind of the nature of the speed you're creating. The only thing you can do realistically is try and mitigate what happens after the fact. That's the thing you can do. So even though we hate it, they got rid of the grass. That definitely helped.
They could paint it, make it look a little nicer.
They could definitely paint it and make it look nicer. That would be nice. But
paint a mural on it.
That's what I was going to say. Get like some fucking local artists. Get like a fucking 100 local artists to paint a fucking mural on the backstretch. It'd be awesome.
It'd certainly be more visually interesting than it is now. But the way it is now is functional. And realistically, that's what we want. We want it to be functional. So that's all you can really do. I mean, unless you want to slow the cars down even more, please, for the love of God, don't.
Don't fucking do that. Don't fucking do it. It's
your only option.
It's 300
horsepower. Yeah.
Please, dude, it's still like, I mean, it's just, I mean, here's, if for some reason you don't understand why when the car catches air, it's going over, especially when it gets around onto its side and especially backwards. I mean, you literally have the diffuser that's meant to channel air through. And I mean, it's just gonna, it's when it gets turned around backwards, it's going to do the opposite of what it's doing forward. It's trying to keep the car on the ground when it's going forward. It's going to get,
well, it's kind of like the old wing was.
Physics. It's just physics.
It's just like the old wing was.
And if you look at it too, they used to, in the Gen 6, they would add the skirt around the bottom of the bumper.
Yeah.
For literally that reason. And obviously with the diffuser, you can't do that. So that's another problem too, because someone pointed out
didn't help much with the Gen 6 though.
I mean, it did. Sometimes.
We started sending a lot of them over toward the end though.
Well, Kevin Harvick on the backstretch in 2021, he got turned basically in the same manner that Josh Berry got turned. And the car never left the ground.
It's true.
I mean, he was just blindsidedly, spun around, did a full 180 and stayed on the ground. And, so.
I would be curious if we couldn't run Daytona and Talladega with the flat bottom. Like, what is the diffuser doing in this scenario that's like, because it's not meant for this. It's meant for.
It saved the teams probably about $30,000.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a thought. I don't know.
Especially when most of them junk their diffuser anyway.
Exactly. I mean, because if you spin off the apron, I mean, the underbody's destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chucky, you got anything more?
That's about it. Race cars are going to flip.
Race cars are an astute observation there, Chuck.
We need that on a t-shirt.
Race cars flip. There you go.
Hey, man, we get enough subscribers, we'll start making t-shirts.
I mean, honestly, if you want proof that no matter what you do, race cars are going to flip, a non-next gen car flipped a week ago. Kyle Sieg flipped at Michigan.
Yeah,
and that's been a car. So
it's just
race cars flip. It happens.
Yeah,
a truck flipped at Daytona in February. So
I watched a car store car flip this year. Okay, anything can happen.
Well, that was a little different.
I just, to kind of put a pin in it, it's, I don't want to be that guy, but racing's dangerous. You're never gonna put it in a 10-foot tall, cushion, room. Like, it's just not gonna happen. So
all you can do is minimize the risks to the best of your abilities.
Yep. Other than that, I mean, it was a race. I mean, Kyle Larson wrecked somebody. Corey Lajoie wrecked somebody.
Kyle Larson did wreck somebody. I think I was asleep during that part.
Yeah, probably.
It's a Daytona race, man. It was a very quintessential Daytona race. Was the Nemechek caution, was that what sent us into overtime?
No, because Kyle got involved in the
Barry sent us into overtime.
Yes.
Before we talk about Harry B, I do want to bring this up just to piss both of y'all off.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't like where this is going already.
So, the last 8 cup races, only one of them has ended at the scheduled distance. New Hampshire overtime. Nashville 5 overtimes. Chicago was shortened. Pocono went to the scheduled distance. Indy double overtime. Richmond overtime. Michigan double overtime. Daytona overtime.
New Hampshire was shortened, was it not?
Shortened and then overtime.
Was it?
No, it was not shortened.
No, we got the end.
Yeah, we got the full thing.
It just felt like I was shortened. I know I was there, but like it was dark when they took the checkered flag, so it felt like it was shortened anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, I just want to point that out. I was hoping to get a rant out of Seth, or maybe Chuck. I don't know.
Seth, you
try to generate content.
Well, okay, it's been past time to do something about overtime. I'm willing to compromise and say one time.
One time,
but even then, it's like we had the biggest black eye on this sport in the past 5 years, I think, simply because we went to overtime in the Austin Dillon incident at Richmond. Dude's 3.5 seconds up. Nothing interesting was happening in those last 2 laps, and somehow that warrants re-racking them. I can kind of understand Austin's frustration. Fuck you guys. I had this race won. This is bullshit.
What did I say, Chuck? What did I say the other night? I said he was defending Austin Dillon. And here he is defending the son of a bitch again.
I mean, I'm going to say his take is valid.
His take is valid. It's just funny because I called him out for it and then he refuted it.
I don't have the energy to give a full-on rant right now. If you guys want to rant on my take on this, go listen to my rant from the Indy episode. Because that was one of the best rants I've ever given. maybe the best I've ever given.
Oh, it was.
I'll kind of summarize it and say, we claim the NASCAR Cup Series to be arguably the greatest race car drivers on the planet. And for some reason, the 36 greatest race car drivers on the planet get inside 10 laps to go in a cup race, and they look like a bunch of Make-A-Wish kid middle schoolers driving stock cars, and they can't keep it in a straight fucking line. I'm sorry. That doesn't warrant letting 30 more of them not keep it in a straight line.
And that's coming from a middle school Make-A-Wish kid.
So we don't need overtime for us to make ourselves look like even more clowns. I promise you, as long as we keep doing 4 or 5 overtimes every week, we're never going to beat the WWE allegations because we're the exact thing that we say we're not. We're like, I'm trying to think of being at NASCAR was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever witnessed. I had friends with me that were there for the first time, and they enjoyed the first 3 hours of that race. And then by the third overtime, they were like, what are we doing?
You do get secondhand embarrassment.
It is. It's embarrassing, especially when you're trying to introduce the sport to new people and you show them this fantastic race because Nashville was a solid race. And then it was like, oh, now let's just wreck the shit out of each other because we're racing for 25th and we might get 23rd. If everybody would get their heads out of their ass, overtime.
I agree.
My last thing is that the only problem with completely getting rid of overtime is that everybody's going to be pissed off when Austin Cindric and Noah Gragson wreck each other for 27th with 4 to go in the Daytona 500 and it's over. So that's the biggest thing. That's like the biggest thing that turns people away from, oh my God, we have to have overtime. But then if you only have one overtime, the same thing's going to happen. You're going to re-rack them and somebody's going to wreck somebody for 74th. So there's no solution until these guys pull their heads out of their ass.
Single file restarts. Single file restarts in overtime. I was with a friend a couple weeks ago. We were at a local park. We were swinging on swings, and I was like, I'm gonna jump off this damn swing. And she told me, she's like, you jump off that swing and fall, I'm gonna be real pissed off because I'm gonna get secondhand embarrassment from it. And you know what? That's how I feel every time we get down the last 10 laps, and I'm like, all right, NASCAR, all right, drivers, don't fucking wreck and cause it go to overtime because I'm going to be pissed off because I'm going to have secondhand advantage from it. So I feel it. Also, I think I share the same.
Every time it happens, you're like, oh,
I think I share the same sentiment as a lot of other people. These races are long already.
Too long.
And I don't know about you. I got shit to do.
I won't say too long, but they are long.
I think a lot of them are too long.
A lot of them are too long. And
it only feels too long because we stop for 2 stages and then have 7 overtimes at the end of every race. That's why it feels too long.
That's valid.
True. But yeah, I got shit to do.
That's why I liked it when the races started at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, baby.
1 o'clock, 7:30 on Saturday night.
Hashtag noon.
3 o'clock on the West Coast.
Cool.
I just hang on real quick. I love this. I listened to this argument last week on the teardown. I love this idea that 10. They're like, oh my God, if we ran at 1, then West Coast people would have to get up at 10 o'clock. I'm like, holy fuck, 10 o'clock, brutal. I couldn't imagine getting up that early.
You're not.
It's just a simply invalid point because F1 exists. You have to get up and watch F1. Like if you,
you can just record it.
Really want to. Here's the thing: if they're not willing to wake up at 10 in the fucking morning to watch the race, are they even really fans you want? Because clearly they don't give a damn that much.
Well, and the problem is NASCAR comes out and every time they're like, oh, viewership would drop. And I'm like, okay, these aren't people who actually want to watch your race. These are people who are tuning in to watch something else and getting the back end of a race. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not adding to the health of the series.
Yeah. Speaking of something else that's not adding to the health of the series. Okay, we thought it was bad the other week when 32nd place in points, Austin Dillon won a race and at the time got into the playoffs. It's obviously since been revoked. What could be worse? dead last in points, Harrison Burton winning Daytona and locking his way into the playoffs. I'm gonna put it out there. You guys know I don't care for winning or grand either, but no one can knock Harrison Burton. Everybody was on their same rules. He just did it. So before we talk about Harrison, this is something that I think I felt a lot more because of Lee Diffie's amazing call at the end of this race. Because Lee Diffie did a great job of identifying the moment that was the last lap of Daytona and the immediate moments after, not the implications of 2 weeks from now. And it really just hit me how much the playoff story and the win in your end specifically takes away from the individual moment that was Harrison Burton getting his first win after getting released from Wood Brothers at the end of the year and having 3 terrible years, and he triumphantly wins on the biggest stage.
I'll be completely honest, because of the way the broadcast dealt with the entire situation, the way Lee called it, the emphasis on Jeff Burton after it had happened. I think it took me like 10 minutes to even comprehend that he made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because it was a moment. It was a fun moment.
Great moment.
And then it didn't really ruin it for me that he made the playoffs, because I'm at the point now where I'm like, whatever, if you're barely making it into the last 4 of the playoffs, you're probably not going to go anywhere anyway, more than likely. And if you would, I guess that sucks, but like you should have done more in the regular season, I guess. Not to say that makes it okay that we're letting last place into the playoffs. I remember I said this, I think 2 years ago when they got rid of the top 30 rule. I said, this is a joke. It's already bad enough, and now you've made it worse. And here we go. This is worst case scenario for that, unfortunately. And this was, once they made this announcement, this was kind of bound to happen. And it ironically happened twice this year.
Doesn't it always happen in NASCAR where they make a rule and they're like, yeah, what's the worst that can happen? And literally the very worst happens.
Seems literally
like it happens a lot.
Ricky Stenhouse keeps, doesn't trip on his own dick with 2 to go at Richmond. And then we got 2 guys outside of the top 30. I guess Austin would have catapulted to like 27th or whatever, but still basically 2 guys outside the top 30.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
It all goes back to when we try to legitimize our series against the other motorsports in the world and try and prop the series up and say, hey, we are the best in the world. We're the greatest race car drivers in the world, greatest racing series in the world. And then we have a clown show system to crown an illegitimate champion. Doesn't really do us any justice. I know you guys enjoyed the win in the moment. They can both confirm.
Chuck was pissed.
I was pissed because the entire time that was the first thing I thought. It was like, we're going to lose another playoff spot for a guy that could go on a run and deserves it, like Bubba, like Ross, like potentially Chris Buescher if somebody else wins this week, to a guy who is dead last in points and isn't going to do a damn thing.
Yeah.
And I would have enjoyed that win for him so much more. In the same way that without the drama, I would have enjoyed Austin Dillon winning at Richmond if this system did not exist.
Here's what it does.
This system takes all the wind out of the sails of surprise and first-time winners.
Dude, that very much so. Also, they talk about so much how the playoffs system creates storylines. For me, it took a storyline away because you had very large implications for the regular season title. Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson both had off nights. Chase Elliott wrecked. Larson gained points on Reddick. That's something that we need to be paying attention to. That's been a great battle that's really gotten pushed to the wayside. So we have that. We have the playoff cut line, which, right now we have Chris Buescher plus 21, Bubba minus 21, Ross minus 27. And Ty Gibbs is only 39 up on the cut line at Darlington. Darlington, I mean, we see attrition at Darlington all the time. So you have that storyline that would even be closer. And then you have Harrison Burton, aside from all that, getting his first win. And it doesn't take away from any of the other storylines. Harrison Burton wins. Yes, okay. Well, now it makes it to where, yeah, we have the regular season title battle too, but now it affects the playoff bubble situation. So now, if it was going to be what, I'm looking at it correctly, it would have been a couple points. It would have been 6 points between Ross and Bubba, and now they're both 20 points behind Chris Buescher.
So instead of having a playoff cut line battle at Darlington, we have two guys that.
Yeah, exactly. It's all the storylines that you could have got tied into just one big story that we're all tired of hearing.
Yep.
So
and it takes away. It really, and nobody. I hate to say this, but not as many people are going to appreciate Harrison's first win and the fact that he finally got it done, and the Wood Brothers' 100th win, because they're going to be like, yeah, but he's in the playoffs and that sucks. So I'm going to read you guys a tweet. So Danielle Trotta says today, head scratcher on today's On Track show. Fans loved Harrison Burton and Wood Brothers win, but don't like the playoff system. Seems kind of contradictory. Well, she must have forgotten that we have opinions about the playoffs that aren't always woo yay awesome. So shout out to fellow front stretch colleague, not Anthony, Steve LeFew, because he responded to it with a perfect response. Just because fans like to see the 34th place car win a race doesn't mean fans think the 34th place car should be in the playoffs. If the 0-14 Vikings beat the 11-3 Packers late in the season, they still have no business being in the NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
It's 100% accurate, and that's the exact same thing as this situation.
You know, it literally, for a lot of fans, I think Harrison's a little different, but I'm gonna use Austin Dillon as an example. For a lot of people, Austin Dillon would have made the playoffs. Say he wins Richmond outright, right? It would have been huge. It would have been like, holy shit, you're 32nd in points, and you just went out and mollywopped them. Like, where the hell did this come from? Like, tip of the hat to you, bud. But instead, it's, I mean, great run, Austin, but fuck, man, really? He gets to be in the playoffs now? Like, I mean, I know this system's been going on for 10 years, and it's been a couple years since we did the 30 rule, but I don't know. It, like I said, it is in the immediate moment. I don't want to think about playoffs. I don't want to have to think about, I don't want the story to be Harrison Burton in the playoffs, because in 4 or 5 weeks, what's that story? Where's that story?
Harrison Burton's dead last in the playoffs.
Exactly.
By a lot. You know what?
By a lot.
I'll even say that a couple years ago, Michael McDowell and Ricky Stenhouse won the Daytona 500 back-to-back. And the first thing everybody said was, that's awesome. Underdog Daytona 500 winner. But they're in the playoffs.
Well,
guess what? They both went out and didn't do a damn thing in the playoffs either.
Both of them made the playoffs, though, without it. They both would have made it on points.
Well, there's a different point about that, too, is that
that's beside the point. Yeah, you're right, Chuck.
Well, there's a different point about that, too, is that we get these big moments, Daytona 500 wins, a guy's first win, and 9 times out of 10, until literally Lee Diffie the other night, the first thing that comes out of anyone's mouth is Rick Allen specifically, and they're in the playoffs. Holy shit, dude. It just sucks the life out of the moment. Like, we were ripping on Rick Allen a little bit yesterday because it got pretty bad there at the end. And we're like, hey, pull up the Southern 500 from last year. And it's like, oh, he's won big races. He's never won at Darlington. He's going to win his way into the round of 12. Bam, just ruined it. Just killed all the momentum of that call.
You know what it is? It's like you give a kid a toy and he's like, oh, this toy is awesome. I can't wait to play with it with all my other toys that I get after it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have this thing that, cool, it's great, but you're already looking forward to
you don't get to
appreciate
the moment in the moment.
Thank you. Yes,
and people almost root against first time winners now, especially guys that aren't in a position like Ty Gibbs and don't drive for a Joe Gibbs Racing, because they're like, oh yeah, but if he wins, he's in the playoffs. I hate that narrative so much because it takes so much life and unpredictability in a way out of the sport.
I want to be happy, and I am happy that Harrison Burton won a race. I'm super excited that Harrison Burton won a race. You know why? Because as terrible as he's been in the Cup Series, he drove a great race. He drove a damn good race. He went out and beat Kyle Busch. Parker Retzlaff pushed that son bitch to the lead. Like, Parker Retzlaff, of all people. Like,
Bro cost himself a Cup ride to push Harrison Burton.
Yeah, they went out and took it to him.
Like, I don't know. Someone will sign Parker. He looked like an old pro out there.
He did. And, I mean, I just wish that was the story. And like I said, keep going back to it. Kudos to Lee Diffie, because
the call was incredible.
And the call was incredible. I mean, dude. Harrison Burton turns left. Jeff, your little boy has done it. Left. Okay, cool. Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate you interrupted me. That was awesome.
I didn't even realize you were talking.
Yeah, because you were talking. Anyway, so we have Harrison Burton turns left. Jeff, your little boy has done it. Which one do you like better? I mean, fucking A, dude.
I really like turning left, dude.
I like turning left, too.
But no,
I mean, no, the
in
whole
our conversation. Sorry.
Obviously, you're not just saying it was that moment, but I mean, from the backstretch on, he's talking about Kyle Busch, and he's like, oh, but here comes Harrison Burton, and then everything from then on is, I mean, Lee Diffie was great all night. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
He's been great his whole career. I'm super happy we have him in the Cup Series now for hopefully ever. They never need to let him go. He's awesome. He's been awesome. He is he brings so much more energy than we've seen in the Cup Series in about, I don't know, 10 years, just in general, because Mike Joy's at the end of his career, and Rick Allen's Rick Allen.
And DW is gone.
Yeah, and DW was falling off before that anyway, but God, that was exhilarating. Like,
you know what he did? Everybody, all of us, and you look at any social media post, anything. How many people really think about Harrison Burton on a week-to-week basis?
Hardly anybody.
None of us. The only reason I think about him is because he pissed me the fuck off at Phoenix. But you know what Lee Diffie did? He sold us in between turn 3 and the start-finish line and everything after. He sold us on Harrison Burton. He sold all of us. We jumped up. I think a lot of that was literally we both were like, we heard, here comes Harrison Burton, and both of us, it brought us to our feet. I'm sure as a lot of other people as well. Yeah. And, it is good because, playoffs or not, I mean, he's a Burton. They've been around forever. They were a mainstay of the 90s and early 2000s when NASCAR was booming. So it's good for the sport when these guys do well. It gives us an excuse to use the Kim Burton cam, which I'm always a fan of.
Shout out to NBC to not cutting to the Kim Burton cam till after the fact.
Yeah.
I do. You know what I want to say about Lee Diffie? I don't think this is a hot take either. I think we all felt that since NBC started this year, they're clearly light years ahead of Fox.
Yeah.
But there was an energy missing from their broadcast because they don't have a junior anymore.
Yeah.
Lee Diffie brought the energy back that they were missing without Dale.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm happy for Harrison. I hope that he finds him a good Xfinity ride. And you know what? If he does, I'll be a Harrison Burton. I don't have an Xfinity driver next year because old Shaggy Ginsburg is going to Cup. Obviously, we'll talk about that on the rundown from Down Under this week. But I don't have me an Xfinity driver for next year. So Harry B gets some good ride. I'll be pulling for Harrison.
Stop calling him that.
That's a pretty good nickname.
Yeah, that's a great nickname. Anything else on Harrison?
Can you just imagine if Rick Allen, we talked about this.
I told you. Yeah, I told you what he would say.
It. He wins his way into the playoffs.
Yeah. speaking of playoffs, regular season championship, Kyle Larson 17 points behind Tyler Reddick.
I think Chase
do it
behind.
Chase is what?
I think Chase is only one behind Kyle. So 18.
How?
Because he was way ahead.
Yeah, because he was way
really?
ahead of Kyle.
Okay,
They were both
anyway.
like 30-some points ahead of Kyle coming into this week.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chase is right there too. Who do we think is going to win it?
Tyler Reddick.
He's gonna have the fastest car there, and he's gonna find a way to finish second.
Well, even if Kyle Larson hits like max points, I don't see Tyler Reddick finishing combined 10 spots behind him with playoff points or with stage points. Yeah. I just don't see it. He was too good there in the spring. He was too good there in the fall. I don't see him finishing any worse than third.
I think ultimately y'all are right, but nothing would make me happier than to watch Tyler Reddick eat the fucking wall.
Oh, he's gonna hit the wall.
He's gonna hit the wall a ton, but so is Kyle Larson.
They're both gonna be banging the boards.
Look, Seth, I love you, man, but I don't know. I don't give a fuck about Kyle Larson winning.
I'm fully aware of that.
Because of you. I just want him to beat that son of a bitch in the 45 car.
That's fair.
Those two are literally gonna lap the field trying to beat each other.
That's fine. I hope Kyle wrecks the shit out of him.
It's gonna be Denny Hamlin.
I hope Josh Berry
They're gonna wreck the shit out of each other, and Denny's gonna win.
No, I hope Josh Berry's having a spectacular run and is like, you know what? I need to get in the playoffs and punt Tyler Reddick. Vengeance,
I don't know. Is
baby.
anyone bold enough to be the first one to test NASCAR?
You can punt a guy. You just can't right hook him.
Yeah. Walk the tightrope,
We're
I guess.
coming just go talk to Joey. Joey's got it down.
Chuck, shut up. We're coming up on the. I haven't done that in a while. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary when Tyler Reddick ruined my life, and he's got something on the line this weekend, and nothing would warm my heart more than to see it get taken away from him. Fuck Tyler Reddick. Anyway, playoff bubble. Chris Buescher, 21 points up. As I said earlier, Bubba Wallace 21 points back. Ross 27 back. Ty Gibbs 39. It'd take a lot for him to probably miss, but it's possible. Or do we see a new winner?
I don't think we see a new winner.
I don't think we see a new winner either.
Buescher and Gibbs make it.
Unless it's Buescher.
I
kind of doubt it. They haven't been running fantastic recently.
Look, as fast as the 45 is, as fast as Denny Hamlin is, I would not be shocked if that 23 car unloads pretty darn quick. And
yeah,
I don't know. I think he can. I think because those are more, those are guys back after the top 10 and top 15. There's a lot more discrepancy in as far as what the difference in position that could be possible there. It's not Kyle Larson or Tyler Reddick. Those guys are going to be in the top 5, top 2 or 3 probably. Chris Buescher has a little bit off of the day. He could be 18th. Bubba could be up there in the top 5 getting stage points. I'm not going to comment on the guy in 19th because fuck him. Or 18th. Sorry.
Ross?
Yeah.
No. I mean, if this was 2023 Trackhouse, I'd say Ross could go win Darlington easy. But it's not. They're not good this year. Not nearly as good as they have been the past couple. So I don't see them. Even though Darlington is maybe his best track, I don't see it happening.
It's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised. Chris obviously was good there in spring. Bubba, I think, is going to have a lot. He's going to have a lot behind him. And I mean, like you said, it's Ross's best track. Kyle Busch is good here.
But RCR's not.
Been quicker lately. They've been quicker.
The last time Austin Dillon was good at Richmond, he was good at Darlington the same year.
I think we're going to have quite the show on Sunday.
If Kyle Busch wins Darlington, that place might burn down. You're going to hear the loudest cheer you've ever heard for Kyle Busch.
Will you?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's that theory.
A lot of people have turned around on the whole Kyle Busch thing.
He's still Kyle Busch.
He's still Kyle Busch, yeah.
But
dude, you hear Daytona erupt when Harrison Burton passed him?
they erupted because Harrison Burton was going to win a race. A lot more people have turned the corner on Kyle Busch.
I mean, you're right, but
you guys not know the whole.
Busch.
You guys not know the whole story of Carl saying, "When the hell did that change?"
Yes, we know. We're not stupid, Chuck. We've heard the story, but it's still Kyle Busch.
I think that might. You're also talking about a really low bar. Really, the loudest cheer you've ever heard for Kyle Busch?
I've heard a lot of loud cheers for Kyle Busch.
Yeah,
Talladega cheered when he won last year.
Why are we talking? It don't fucking matter. Anyway,
I guess I just proved Chuck's point. I don't know.
You 100% did. So
I did.
Yeah. Sundress and dumbass.
All right. Sundress is obviously Lee Diffie, but also Lane Riggs. As someone who's also celebrated too hard and dislocated his shoulder, I feel for you, my guy. Not fun. You handle it like a champ. I mean, I could put it back in myself, but whatever.
There is a backstory behind that. It's a reoccurring injury from 2018. Go check out the Weaver's article. But
that's the way it was with me too.
So my sundress is going to be, well, number one, Lane Riggs, because Cars Tour alumni victories are awesome. But I'm going to actually say NBC as like a whole, just because I thought it was really cool. And I've always thought this was really cool, the way NBC captures like crowd reactions when something big happens. And when both the flips happened and the end of the race, they 100% got all the crowd audio in there, and it made the moment so much better to watch on TV. So sundress for them.
Absolutely. My sundress is Kyle Busch. And the reason it's Kyle Busch is because after the race, he made a comment much to the chagrin of Austin Dillon. Essentially what he said is, I did everything I could except for wrecking Harrison, and I wasn't going to do that. So shout out to Kyle Busch.
He could have.
Shout out to Kyle Busch for taking a slide at Austin there.
Good guy, Kyle Busch. Good guy.
Yeah. Dumbass.
Proving my point again.
I'm going last.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going last.
Okay. I'll do the old big motor, small blade tradition of jumping across every table, kicking all the babies and clearing the whole board to take the low hanging fruit. Corey Lajoie for wrecking half the fucking field. I had you guys on my let's take a look at the poll I posted. I don't know. It actually might be done now. Yeah, it's actually done. But we had right before it ended, I had about, I think it was 50 or 60 votes on this Twitter, this Instagram poll I posted that was, maybe if Spire knows there's other options, they'll fire Corey 11 weeks early. And I was checking availability for, someone to drive the 7 car this weekend. And like I said, 50, 60 votes came in. 100%. 100%. There's at least 50 or 60 people that could drive the 7 car next weekend. Spire, listen here, Jeff Dickerson. Any of us will gladly. I'm sure I can knock the turn 3 wall down at Darlington just as good as Corey Lajoie. So
he also almost LePage the field.
He did almost Lajoie the field. He almost brought a whole new meaning to it.
So my dumbass, because I don't want to copy Buddy, obviously Corey Lajoie, but I'm going to say NASCAR. Really? I've never said that before, but I have a reason this week. Because it was announced today that they're not going back to Milwaukee this year or next year. Why?
Wait, really?
Flat miles suck.
It doesn't matter. It's a unique track.
Milwaukee.
It's a unique track. It's great for the trucks, and it races fun for the drivers. Go to Milwaukee and take the Xfinity Series 2. Stop making both their schedules a carbon copy of Cup.
I don't really
It's the oldest active racetrack on the planet. Yeah, you need to be in Milwaukee, I think.
Okay.
Anyway. All right. My dumbass is an interesting one.
I couldn't be fucked to give enough about trucks, so
that's fair. So I got home yesterday, chilling, ready to just not do anything the rest of the day. Okay. I get a phone call from my old friend Chuck Forson.
Oh God!
And he says, "Hey, we got a problem." And I said, "Who's we? And what is this problem?" And he says, "Yeah." He says, "So I seem to have left my laptop in your truck."
Right.
And I said, when did you put your laptop in my truck? So anyway, he took it out on Saturday. So yeah, I had to go meet him halfway, burn 2 hours of my day to go give Chuck his fucking laptop back.
Beth, you left your belt at my house. I don't know if you want to come back and get that.
I'll get it. Bring it to Florence on Friday.
Okay. All right.
The difference is I couldn't wait till Florence on Friday to have my laptop.
Seth gonna be sagging all week.
I literally got out of the truck. I picked up my bag and I went, "Uh-oh, that feels a little light."
I have a different belt for work, buddy, so I'm good. But
yeah, shout out to Seth for meeting me halfway, but I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
that sucked.
All right. So yeah, Chuck dumbass.
Dumbass of the year candidate.
Oh no, Seth and I both bought camping spots for Indy when we were camping
I
together.
said candidate. I didn't say winner.
All right. Well, I don't know if anything tops that.
yeah, that was pretty bad.
Picks for the Southern 500.
First of all,
we're coming up on the coming up on the 3-year anniversary of the Big Motor Small Blade podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyway, go ahead.
So who won this week in picks?
This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing.
For the record, I didn't have a choice in my pick.
So if you guys don't remember, Chuck had to pick Corey Lajoie. He crashed, as he does. I picked Shane Bouvier. And when that happened, when Corey wrecked, I was like, fucking nothing but net, baby. We won the shit. I was already celebrating. I was getting ready to message Cook Virus and be like, we won the picks. And then Shane Van Gisbergen blew the fuck up.
Like,
colleague.
He didn't just blow up. He blew the fuck up. I ain't seen that much smoke rolling out of whatever.
Colleague knows we banned nuclear testing back in the 60s, right?
Clearly not.
I do.
Anthony okay? Is he suffering from radiation? Is that why he's not here?
Maybe.
Good Lord, man. Yeah. So anyway, Seth.
So I won with Cody Ware finishing 4th. So even if Chuck had gotten to pick Brad Keselowski like he wanted to, I still would have won.
Only you would.
Overachiever, man.
You know what's funny is like, you literally had to pick you.
He could have just finished 20th, but nope, he had to go out there and beat most of them.
30th.
He beat most of them, I'll tell you what.
I thought I was going to give 5 points there for half a second.
I was like,
that'd be a real beat.
Seth's going to win his first race of the year with Cody fucking Ware. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, he had a stranglehold on the fourth on back, let me tell you. So picks for
really gave him the old whooping, let me tell you.
Yeah, yes, he did. I feel like we should stop.
Yeah.
Picks for Darlington.
So I'm gonna go with, I'm 99% sure I haven't picked him. I'm gonna go with Carson Hocevar.
Haven't you picked him already?
I just went back through it, and I swear to God I haven't.
Buddy, I was doing the Seth.
Oh yeah, that is the Seth.
Because he does it.
Who goes next?
I believe I do, because Corey at least finished the race. So I'm gonna pick
haven't you picked oh sorry.
Oh yeah, Kyle Larson. I'm gonna pick that guy.
Wow. Okay.
This will be the week, Chuck.
So I was not prepared to make a pick this week. I thought I already had my pick for Darlington picked out. I thought Shane was definitely going to win Daytona, and I was going to get to use him again this weekend at Darlington. Sadly, that did not happen. So I dug down deep into the archives, looked at every pick I've made this year, and somehow, some way, I left this golden nugget just sitting there in a pile of dirt. I somehow have not picked William Byron this year. And he's been a dumpster fire. He's been everything Shane Van Gisbergen was last week, the past couple months. By golly, I got faith in all really me. is just go out there and beat the fucking 5 car in the 77. Give me a damn win. Don't win the race, though. I'll take 1 point over, or I'll take 3 over 5. I don't give a shit. I don't want to see you win the damn race. Just go beat the fucking
first and last time Buddy has ever said or will say he has faith in Willie B.
I don't know how the fuck I haven't picked him yet, but I'm damn glad
I think you did it on purpose.
I definitely did. I'm not going to give myself that credit.
I definitely didn't pick Kyle Larson till now on purpose.
Yeah.
Like I 100% planned that.
All right, cool. Well, we're going to be in Darlington, like I said earlier. This was the 3-year anniversary of the Big Motor Small Blade podcast. It's been a time.
I've had a time.
Yeah.
This is a podcast of all time.
Yeah. This is your podcaster's favorite podcast. Let's be real.
And by that he means if your favorite podcaster is us, then it's our favorite podcast.
It's not even our favorite podcast.
I don't really think it is.
No, I don't think it is either.
Well, you guys gotta lie. Come on now.
I don't lie.
Says the guy who says every week, and I quote, there's other podcasts, right?
Yeah.
There are. Well,
for this week, if you're at Darlington and you would like to celebrate
or Florence,
yes. If we're going to be there the entire weekend, camping out, drinking a whole lot of beer, if you would like to come drink beer with us, well, I guess Chuck's babysitting. So if you guys would like to come and celebrate our 3-year anniversary, hit me up on Instagram or our Instagram for the channel.
Don't hit me up. I don't respond to people I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't people I do know. Ever, so
no one's gonna hit you up, Chuck.
I didn't think they would.
Yeah, so hopefully we get to see some people at Darlington. I don't know. I'm excited. You guys excited for the 7500?
I'm gonna be really tired, but yeah.
It's only my favorite race of the entire season. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
I'm pretty excited too.
I get stressed out when I have to work. So we'll see. Excited's not exactly the word I would use, but
go fuck yourselves.
Bye, Gary.